Hi there, I'm Rebecca and a really warm welcome back to my channel, PumpkinBecki. This week's video is a requested video and it is an update on my very poorly Phalaenopsis Orchid. Let's get started. A few months ago I had to do some emergency work to this poor orchid. I discovered it had root rot and it had actually lost an awful lot of its root system. It was of no use to the plant whatsoever. It was gone. Then a few weeks later I got an email from Dan at Coco and he said, I think I've got something that can help. So I filmed another video, a surprise update video, where I repotted the orchid again and I used something called Nature's Gift, and it is a fungicide, and I have been using Nature's Gift fungicide religiously since then. I've had to give this poor orchid an awful lot of tender loving care, far more than I would normally. I am really nervous about what I'm going to find when I unpot this orchid. I know that there is some fungal growth on the bark chippings, not bark chippings, cocoa chippings that I have in here. I don't know. It's going to be a bit of a mystery, but in good news, I have lots of new growth. All these roots coming up, that's all brand new growth. So that's great. It is putting out new growth and it is trying to put out a new leaf as well. It's taking its sweet time about it, but it's trying. So as long as it keeps trying, I keep trying. So what we're going to do, unpot it, have a look at it, address any dead roots that need to be removed, and repot it again. And because there is still fungal growth going on in here, I will throw these cocoa chippings away and start with completely fresh. You'll remember this is the pot that I doctored ever so artistically and craftily. It's a disaster. Right, anyway, I'm going to support the head of the plant here with this hand while I upend it over a tray that I can get rid of. I can see new roots. Look at that. That is brand new root. Healthy brand new root. Yes. Yes. Okay. Alright, so we've got more dead roots. Okay. So when I went to see Coco at the Malvern show, we were having a little chat about Nature's Gift and how it works. And what Dan said was, any affected tissue will actually be killed off by the Nature's Gift. So don't be surprised if more stuff dies even after you've cut back. So I'm not surprised to see more dead roots. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So hopefully here you can see that the orchid has a sort of papery casing on the outside of the root, and this part here, this fine part which runs down through the centre of this, is the root itself. When an orchid root is happy and healthy and able to accept moisture, it will go green. So it will go the casing will go from this silvery to a much more green colour. There is absolutely no point trying to keep these. They are deader than a dead thing. God. I know this is really, really painful to watch. This poor orchid. But again, I have to remember I've got new growth happening up here. This is worse than a thriller movie. We have good, healthy, live, new tissue on the end here. That is a new, healthy root. It's beautiful, and I want to look after it and protect it. Coming up, I've taken the tip off because that had some root on it, on this other piece. As I come up, if I squish the root gently between thumb and forefinger, it's all solid up here. It's a funny colour, but it's solid. When we get up here, I can feel that the papery casing is... It just feels baggy. It doesn't feel connected to anything at all. And same here. I think I am going to have to give this root a fighting chance. I'm going to have to leave it on. As you can see, I've got another piece of root happening here. The crown looks healthy enough. The leaves are struggling because they're just struggling to take up moisture, so they're being sprayed 2-3 times a day with rainwater with the Nature's Gift in it. Just squirt, squirt, squirt. Now I've got a couple of options with what I can do with this plant. I could stand it straight in an orchid pot with some sphagnum moss in the bottom and drape it up over the viable roots to try and let them gather moisture that way. Just keep sort of soaking that sphagnum moss at the bottom, and it'll wick up through the sphagnum moss to the outside of these roots. But because this plant, despite all that adversity, has managed to put on this lovely new piece of root and all these growth points up here, I think I'm going to continue treating it the way I have been. It's intensive care, believe you and me, but something must be going right for it, because the growth it is putting out is beautifully healthy and robust. I'm going to repot into the eCoco organic cocoa husk for healthy orchids. That would be great. I'd love a healthy orchid. And this is the small grade. This is the 5ml cocoa husk chips. You've seen me use the large version before. This is the smallest one they do. I have unfortunately used up all the elite orchid growing medium that eCoco sent me, so I must buy some more. But I have got a bag of their charcoaled cocoa husk from their terrarium pack, which I will be using in a terrarium very soon. But I think I can sacrifice a little bit of it for this poor orchid. I think it deserves it. I've just simply mixed in some of that charcoaled cocoa along with the cocoa husk medium. So I've got my pot. It has aeration holes in the side, lots of drainage down the bottom. I had to put the side ones in. Don't understand that. I don't understand why orchid pots, knowing what I know now about orchids, I don't understand why specific orchid pots come with so little aeration. We're going to drape that root in so it's still got room to grow and do its thing. I'm supporting the crown of the orchid here just off the top of the pot. And now I'm going to take that mixture that I've just made up and start adding it in. firm it down a little bit. Make sure there's no glaring air gaps anywhere. There's a bit of a one there. So there we go, that's repotted. You will notice that I am not in any way trying to bury this new root growth. They're aerial roots. If they want to be in the air, leave them in the air. If they look like they want to go down into the ground, they will do that on their own. I just want to support this plant and allow moisture and air to get to the roots. So all I'm going to do now is give this a soak for probably about 5-10 minutes in rainwater, which has the Nature's Gift added to it as a fungicide. It's early afternoon now, and just before I go to bed this evening I will give it a spray with more Nature's Gift up here around the roots, trying to get moisture into these root casings. So when you go and buy an orchid, what I would suggest is, yes, look at the flower stalk. Do you like the colour of the flower? Do the leaves look healthy? Do they look wrinkly and horrible like this, or do they look lovely and glossy and thick? And even if they do look lovely and glossy and thick, slip the decorative pot off and have a look at what's going on inside the normal growth pot. You can see roots. Do they look healthy? Do they look light, like that bright green one I showed you? If you can't see roots, is there a funny smell coming from the soil surface? If there is, then there's root rot in there for sure. Does the soil look open like this? Or does it look like garden soil? Does it look broken down into tiny particles? If it does, then you're going to need to repot, because that broken down soil holds too much moisture, it doesn't let enough air flow, and if you haven't got root rot already, you very soon will have. So don't just be seduced by the flowers. I'm sure there will be updates on this poor orchid, even if it just ends up being an RIP video. No, I'm sure we can do it. Fingers crossed to everybody. Just, we can do this. We can get this poor orchid healthy again. We can do it. Right, that is it for this week's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to rate, share and subscribe to me here on YouTube. And until next time, bye.